We got our swag, we got our tickets, and we're going to Oregon Spirit in our own backyard. Can't wait!
Well, we survived.
Yeah, skin of our teeth. Barely made it out of there. No, that was great. The Oregon Whiskey Festival, our first time going after all these years, finally being in town, and what a time we had. Just fantastic whiskey, great distillers, great people all around. And I know there's some of you out there going, this isn't Kentucky, this is Oregon. How can any of it be any good? In all honesty, they're doing wonderful things. So many of them are grain to glass. So many of them are doing things that are unexpected. And yeah, in Kentucky, Indiana, those states, you've got a lot of corn and things like that. We've got barley, we've got rye, we've got wheat. And so that's what you're finding is people are producing great whiskey from what we have here in Oregon. Honestly, just fantastic to see it. So many friendly faces, people that we knew, met some people we didn't know, and had an all-around great time. And now we're going to tell you, we each have a list of our favorites.
We do.
I can't wait to share these because this isn't going to be an exhaustive list. We will never remember all the whiskeys that we got to try yesterday because there were so many from so many different places. But we can't wait to tell you about some of our favorites that we actually remembered to write down. Why don't you kick us off? What was your... not necessarily favorite. These are not in a particular order.
No, I just kind of jotted some notes down. So I'm just going to start with the first one that we actually had, and that was a Westward sourdough.
Yeah, we've had their Vintners Cuvée. It was another one of their club exclusives. So there was a lot of exclusives there that we got to try. That was really exciting. But the Ken's sourdough, if for those of you in Portland, you already know about Ken's sourdough. And you want to know about it too, huh, Megan? Yeah, fantastic whiskey, very unusual. Like I said, a lot of unusual things there. And that's how we kicked things off with a sourdough American Single Malt Whiskey from Westward. Very well done. It was delicious. Their club picks are really something else.
They are. They were delicious. We tried the rum cask one as well. They had a whole lineup that you could try from. Yeah. I really dug that sourdough, though. It was delicious.
So great job, Westward, producing fantastic whiskey in Portland, Oregon.
It's so funny. I was a little surprised by how many single malts there were yesterday.
Yeah.
And then we got to chatting, and it is kind of a single malt area. But every distillery that we went to, they had some iteration of that for us to try, which was really fascinating.
We grow delicious barley.
We do.
Turn it into good things. What else have you got on your list? I'm going to have a sip. I'm drinking the Oregon Spirit Bottled and Bond Wheat over here.
Well, since we're talking Oregon Spirit, we got to try a couple things from Oregon Spirit as well. But they had a distillery release for their 10-year bourbon, and it was delicious.
You know, isn't it so cool that Oregon whiskey, you'd think, how long have they possibly been around? But Oregon Spirit, based right here in Bend, Oregon, cranking out a single barrel 10-year bourbon release, 116 proof. That 10 years, a beautiful flavor profile, so complex, so delicious, unbelievable. I hope they do a lot more of those high age releases in the future because that is a beautiful bottle, absolutely worth a try if you can get it. It's a distillery only exclusive, so go to Bend, Oregon. You'll get yourself some Oregon Spirit.
And you've heard us talk about Oregon Spirit before. We love their stuff. Their rye last year, I think we put top of the list.
Yeah, their Bottled and Bond rye is something else. It's delicious. It's another one of those grains that's so unique that brings its own flavor to the table. It's unlike anything else. Absolutely worth a shot. Are you going to go again?
Yeah, I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep rolling.
I'm going to set my list over here then. Let's go.
So this one I was very excited about because we have never tried it. It was Bird Creek. And we tried as much as they would let us try, actually. There's a limited number of tokens. You can only try so much, so I was asking if we could like split or even third so we could try a couple different things. And so I did try a couple things there. It was great. I've heard such good things about them, and they didn't disappoint. I had the small batch, which I loved, and then I got to try the Baroness, which I didn't try my first round. Actually used another token to come back to them. Tried the Baroness. Wow.
Yeah, their cask strength American Single Malt Whiskey blew me away. I thought it was impressive that they have multiple Ascot trophies there. So if you're a Fred Minnick fan, you probably have already heard about Bird Creek. This was our first exposure to it, and wow, I don't know where they've been, but whatever they're doing, it's amazing. The bottles are gorgeous. They have Mount Adams in the bottom of the glass, and the people were great, and definitely look for Bird Creek on this shelf. In the near future, you should put some on your own shelf too. It's very good.
So I'm going to go real Pacific Northwest here. A staple of the area, McMenamins. If you know anything about McMenamins, they have like 60 locations across Oregon and Washington. They might even be in California, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But we've tried a couple iterations of their bourbon before. Our patrons have sent us samples, and I got to try the 10-year rye. I know you tried the 14-year...
American Single Malt. Yeah, the Hogshead. Those were both exclusives. The cask strength rye 10-year and the Hogshead 14-year American Single Malt. Those were phenomenal. Both of them were amazing.
I think that we both were on the same page where we went into this tasting, into the festival going, what can I not try? Like, what is not available on shelves?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where our heads went. So that's why I tried the 10-year rye. We were a split decision on this one because I was slightly obsessed with the rye. I thought it was so delicious.
That cask strength rye was a special, special whiskey. It's delicious, no doubt about it. But 14-year American Single Malt Whiskey, are you kidding me? It was so good. Blew me away. Flavor-wise, both of them were great. You didn't like the American Single Malt as much as I liked the rye, but both very nice whiskeys. So if you're in the McMenamins Whiskey Club, congratulations. I hope you got those bottles because those are winners.
And they weren't giving anything away either. We kept asking how we could buy the bottle, and they're like, join the club. We're like, but...
I was like, have you seen our YouTube channel? Did you know we're influencers? No, we didn't do any of that. Of course not. But yeah, I was a little bummed to find out that those were exclusives because those are fantastic. We can only hope that they have a lot more of that type of thing that's going to trickle out into public offerings in the near future. But if this is any indication of what we get to look forward to from them as a brand, keep it up, McMenamins. We would love to try a lot more.
I got one more.
I'm just going to keep drinking whiskey, and you just keep telling me what you got.
I got one more. Actually, I have two more, but I know you're going to talk about my last one. So this I want to do a special shout out. It's only a 2-year aged single malt.
Oh.
It's from Pilot House Distilling. It's called AO. They're in Astoria, Oregon, which is one of our favorite places in Oregon on the coast. And we got to try 3 different things of theirs, but I really like batch 14. I thought it was a nice mix of, like, there was, like, really single malt, and then there was kind of like a intro to single malt, because it didn't have much single malt flavors, and then there was the single malt that I think brought in some of those bourbon flavors. That's batch 14, which is the one that I liked. I thought it was a really beautiful meld. I just wanted to call that out, because 2 years, obviously, when we're in the business, not a lot, but I thought it was delicious. Actually went back for a second pour.
Yeah, so if you don't know, Astoria is right on the water where the Columbia River dumps out into the Pacific Ocean. And they actually aged, I think the batch that you like was aged specifically on a salmon fishing boat in the bay right there, which that's kind of neat. I'm glad that they're doing that sort of thing. It's just an interesting idea, nice concept. And yeah, their whiskey is young, but very interesting. I actually liked their straight up not aged in the bay, regular American Single Malt Whiskey. As if we needed any more reasons to visit Astoria. Pilot House Distilling, well done. That was our first taste, and we're eager to see where that brand goes in the future as well. This is nice whiskey. I like it.
I'm a little bit whiskeyed out after last night.
I bet you are.
I had a lot of whiskey.
Yeah, you sure did. What do you got next?
All right, so I'm going to toss this over to you with this one because I know you're going to wax poetic about this brand. We've talked about it on the channel.
When have I ever waxed poetically?
We've talked about it on the channel before when we did the, I always get this wrong, Wine Country Whiskey Trail. Did I do that right?
You nailed that.
Nice. We have a whole video, so if you haven't seen it, maybe we'll link it. But it's Ransom.
Yes.
And I think that I love this one because I always think the name is hilarious because the name is Rye Barley Wheat.
Rye Barley Wheat Whiskey. Just
that's the name.
What's in it?
But
barley
it's
wheat.
So delicious.
I like the idea of the mash bill just being right in front of you, but it's not the full mash bill. Some of it's malted, some of it's not, etc., etc. We have had various batches of it in the past. And we've always liked it because for $50, you're getting something really flavorful, very unique, low proof, so you can just enjoy it, a daily sipper type of bottle. What's not to like? Ransom Spirits, they're aging it in wine barrels from their own winery, which is at the same facility. just super cool. So if you get the chance to visit Ransom, they have a lot of different whiskeys. The 1859 is their take on an Irish whiskey made in America, which is very cool. A special shout out to Steve from Ransom. That rye barley wheat whiskey always deserves a shout out, in my opinion. I think it's just a great, balanced, all-around whiskey that is absolutely worth a shot.
So that's it for my list. I mean, we had delicious things that I didn't write down, but these are the memorable ones that I had. For me. Now, what do you have for us?
Well, I mean, my list goes on and on and on here. So Stone Barn, our friends Stone Barn Brandy Works from Portland, they brought an oat whiskey that was very, very nice this time. And again, they've had various batches, but this was our favorite version of that. And also keep an eye out because their walnut liqueur, Nocino, we use it to make old-fashioned around Christmas time. As I understand it, the latest batch of that is about to come out, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And our friends at Branch Point Whiskey. Oh, man, did they bring a couple of hitters this time around. There was one wheat whiskey finished in Muscat barrels. Muscat, whatever.
Muscat.
Sure, let's say it like that. That one was really, really nice. We enjoyed that one and actually went back and had a second pour of it. It was so good.
When I talk about things that I forgot, I kind of forgot about that, but I spent a lot of time at that booth. Branch Point has such a unique flavor profile, and the reason I liked this one specifically is because it brought in some of those more fruit, sweetness flavors into their more grain-forward whiskeys.
That's a perfect way to describe it, and those whiskeys were all delicious. I think everything that Branch Point makes, I'm kind of a fan of. The other thing that we got to try there that I'm in love with is their peated Oregon whiskey. Now, we do have their Oregon whiskey on the shelf, but we've never owned the peated. And after tasting it yesterday and going back and again having a second pour of it, everybody we talked to was going, what are you enjoying? What do you like? What is it? And I said, this peated Oregon whiskey. It was the only peated thing there, I think. And wow, huge flavors. Peaty, smoky, delicious. I mean, what more can you say about it? If you get the chance to visit Branch Point, you definitely should. And if you get the chance to try their peated Oregon whiskey, if you're a peated whiskey fan like I am, I think you better try that one.
And a special shout out to Steven, who I enjoy talking to at Branch Point, and Mitch. Hey, Mitch.
I have a couple more. Actually, no, I think I just have one. Crater Lake Spirits. Crater Lake right here in Bend, Oregon. Their estate rye, which it's grown right there on the facility. It is distilled right there on the facility. It is bottled. It is all done right there. And that is a very, very good, tasty rye. High proof, but huge flavors as well. And that whiskey, every time I go back to that bottle, I'm surprised by how much I like it. So it was already on our shelf. And yet, out of the discs that we had to get your whiskey with, I still used one on that whiskey because, it's on my shelf. It doesn't change the fact that I love it and I wanted to drink it again. So shout out Crater Lake Spirits right here in Bend, Oregon. And that's it. That's it for the list that I've got. It could be longer, but I forgot a lot of the things that we tried because we tried so many beautiful, delicious, wonderful Oregon whiskeys. Just unbelievable how much is available out there.
It's really exciting. I'm hoping that some on my list were also on your list because I feel like I lopsided our lists a little bit over here.
There was a lot of the same. No, we shared a lot of the same list. A huge thank you to Oregon Spirit Distillery for putting on the Oregon Whiskey Festival, and a major shout out and kudos to all of the distillers that were there. So cool to see so many distillers here in Oregon coming of age, producing great whiskey. I think that's the thing that blew me away the most, is how many distillers showed up with whiskey that was really well aged. Craft whiskey in your neck of the woods is probably the same idea. If you haven't taken a look in a little while, look around at those distillers, because as these stocks age, they get better and better, and Oregon Whiskey Festival was a prime example of it. So big shout out to everybody in Oregon producing great whiskey, and from wherever we are.
To wherever you are.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I don't know if these are going to fit me. I think these are for you.
I already have a pair.